right. Hello, everybody. I'm Brian, and this is AAMI News and Conversation. And I wanted to talk to everybody today about a report that just came out of Politico's Agency IQ. It's titled Following Layoffs, the Future of FDA's User Fees Programs is in Extreme Debt Jeopardy. And as most of our members can imagine, this is something that is of interest. It's a public-facing report. Politico was generous enough to make it not under their usual paywall or member fees. So this is something that everyone should absolutely check out. But I'm really happy today because we're bringing in Alec Gaffney, Vice President of Regulatory Policy and Intelligence at Politico's AgencyIQ, to talk about that report and kind of break it down for us, go into some of those details and explain why this is important to our community as a whole. So Alec, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, Brian, thanks for the invitation, and always happy to speak with the AAMI community.
So, Alec, this report, I did note that Politico has made it public-facing, and Politico has noted that they made it public-facing because it's so important for so many stakeholders within this community, and its focus is on the FDA's user fee programs. So, just high level, can you tell us what the importance of those user fee programs is in the first place?
Yeah, that's a great question. Brian, the user fee programs and the history of that goes back to the early 90s, and the genesis of the user fee program started in 1992 with the passage of the Prescription Drug User Fee Act. Now, of course, fast forward, I think, 2 user fee cycles, and there's also a medical device user fee program as well that has been in existence since then. I believe it was the 2002-2003 medical device user fee amendments. The basic idea of the user fee programs is to enhance the FDA's ability to have the resources necessary to ensure an efficient, timely review of medical products. On the drug side, and we've seen this a bit on the medical device side as well, the original problem was that Congress just does not give the FDA enough appropriated funding, I should say, to hire a sufficient number of reviewers. And without those resources, that really hurts the medical device and pharmaceutical industry because their products get bottlenecked. There's just a waiting line of applications, PMAs, 510Ks that are just waiting at the FDA that are otherwise approvable or at least reviewable, for which you just did not have an adequate number of staff. So the central premise of the user fee program is, well, what if industry picked up part of that bill for the FDA? Now, it wouldn't be replacing appropriations. It's meant to be in addition to those appropriations. And therefore, the FDA could then go, all right, with these user fee receivables that we're receiving, we'll go and we'll hire some additional staff. But of course, industry and giving that money over, they want something in return. If you are, let's say, a medical device company and you're signing a very large fee for the application to review your product, you want to make sure that that product is going to be reviewed according to a strict deadline. And therefore, all of the user fee programs, PDUFA for prescription drugs, MDUFA for medical devices, BsUFA for biosimilars, GDUFA for generic drugs, OMUFA for non-prescription drugs, all of these share a very similar format by which the FDA is required to review products according to set timelines. Now, again, it's not pay to play. It's not like you give me money and FDA will approve your product guaranteed. This is just giving you a shot and an efficient drug review according to those deadlines. And those deadlines apply to things like meetings, pre-reviews, status checks on the completeness of your application, also inspections. So there are different types of application or MDUFA fees. You can have one for the application itself, and then there's going to be what's known as a program fee, which will cover the day-to-day operations, things like inspections, technology upgrades as well to the FDA to allow it to, I don't know, transition from 3 copies of your application on a CD to an electronic filing system. That's what those fees are going toward. And ultimately, this program has been quite successful. More broadly, like PDUFA, I think, has really led the way. But MDUFA as well, there's been a steady increase in the size of the medical device user fee program since its inception. And I think we're now on MDUFA 5, going on 6. And that
Yeah.
has allowed the FDA to really dramatically increase the size of its reviewers within its OHTs, its offices of health technologies, of which you have a whole bunch that are actually the ones who are reviewing medical device products and diagnostic products.
And I should note too, like when you're talking about, we've seen the growth of these departments within the FDA to help kind of streamline the review process. We've been seeing some really big improvements on the 510(k) side of things for breakthrough devices. We've seen the evolution of ASCA being from a pilot program to now a permanent program. So our membership is obviously very well aware of, yes, okay, these user fees are at least going towards things that people are benefiting from. At the same time, though, I'm wondering, okay, is this basically an idea of where the industry would rather give the money to the FDA, who is going to know the best ways to streamline the review process, as opposed to, say, I don't know, paying for an internal streamlined structure to try to make it faster to the FDA? Is that how it goes? It's kind of more like a quid pro quo?
You know, I've heard a lot of complaints about the user fee program, mostly from academics or people who are not terribly well familiar with the FDA about, well, if industry is footing the bill here, they undoubtedly have improper influence over the process. Maybe some people agree with that. I wouldn't count myself as one of them. The metaphors that I often use to describe this, and I kind of explain the deeper meaning after I get to the jokier example. But like if
Sure.
you walk in the DMV and Brian, you say, "Hey, I'd like a new license. This one's expired. This license costs $100. Here, DMV employee, here's my $100." If you were to then follow that up by saying, "And you have to give it to me because I'm paying your salary," you are probably not going to be welcome back at that DMV. Or the same way, if you got pulled over on your way to work this morning and you said, "Police officer, what are you doing? I pay your salary." Good
Mhm.
luck with the ensuing fine that you're
Oh,
probably going to
jeez.
be getting.
Yeah.
Like all of these user fees, in a more serious sense now, user fees are collected in aggregates. You are not, as a company, submitting your fee to your reviewer. All of these go into a central processing account. The FDA then collects them, and then based on formulas, is then assigning workload and kind of paying staff based on that workload proportionate to the amount of work that they're doing. It's also a misconception that, a very common misconception, I should say, that there are FDA staff that are user fee staff. Well, there's certainly some that are primarily working on user fee related tasks. Realistically, it's user fees are going toward work, not employees. So if an employee is doing 100% user fee work, of course, 100% of their salary is going to be paid by user fees. But in many cases, it may be more of like a 90%, 50%, depending on the actual activities that they're participating in day to day, week to week.